Hi, my name is Terri, and I am not a fun person. It's something that I know about myself. I can be funny, but I'm not fun. Like when I walk into a party, I'm not the person that gets the party started. I'm the person that walks into the party and other people are like, oh my God, are you okay? And I didn't really own that. Like I always knew that about myself, but I didn't know it about myself until an ill-fated trip to Maine with my husband-to-be, Andy. And there is an island off the coast of Maine and New Brunswick called Campobello in the Bay of Fundy. And Campobello is a beautiful island. No one would know anything about it except the fact that FDR used to have a summer home there. And he and Eleanor Roosevelt would go, and it was fantastic. And when you go to Campobello, it's co-owned and co-managed by Canada and the United States. So it's very kumbaya, and everyone has passive-aggressive high tea together, and you get to tour FDR's house, and it's just this really cool place because I'm also, in addition to not a fun person, a big history nerd. So we go, and FDR's summer cottage, I say cottage because it's a 34-room mansion that is rustic. And they let you take free tours of it, and I'm like, absolutely, I'm going. And my husband, who wants nothing to do with it, he's just like, I'm going for a hike, I'll meet you back here. And I'm like, great. So I go to sign up for the tour, and this little tiny sprite of a woman who's she has sparkle in her eye, and she's like, well, the next house tour leaves in 5 minutes, but the fun tour leaves in 10 minutes. And I'm like, the fun tour? And she's like, yes, the fun tour. It is fantastic, unexpected, and not ordinary. And it's 45 minutes longer, and you get all this behind-the-scenes information, and you get to tour the other historical properties within the park, and it's fantastic. And at this point, I know that FDR wasn't, burying bodies in his basement or having an illegal gambling ring, but maybe FDR was hiding bodies in his basement and having an illegal gambling ring. And I'm just kind of excited. I'm like, you know what, sign me up, I'll do it. So I go out and I'm waiting in this garden and, making small talk with the other tourists who are there. And there's the newlyweds from Japan and the dad and daughter from Michigan and the grandparents from Arizona. And we're all just hanging out waiting for the guide to come, which is when we heard her. She had a kazoo. And I knew in that moment, I am not a fun person. I am not supposed to be here. That cute little old lady in the beginning, that was a harbinger, and this is my personal horror movie. I have spent my entire life avoiding moments like this, people with kazoos. And I'm just like, I can't do this. But I have to, right? Because it's to leave now would be awkward and weird, and I still want to see the inside of this stupid house, the stupid cottage. That's not a cottage. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to endure. So we start off the tour, and for roughly 2 hours, we're paraded about the different parts of the park in the glaring heat, while the guide would intermittently tell us stories about the property. For example, it used to be a resort for super rich people in the 1930s, and people would go there and hook up. And then she would torture us by making us come up with fun dating app names for, if we had a dating app in the 1930s, what would our dating app be? It's oh no. 2 hours. 2 hours. It was like a brutal test of endurance, but I held out because I'm like, I'm going to see like the kitchen where Eleanor Roosevelt may or may not have made hot dogs. I'm getting there. And we had just finished up doing the inventing your own dance move. And the tour guide wraps it up and she's like, all right, it was great having you all and, see you next time. And I'm like, hold up. And I'm like, the tour doesn't include the house. The house doesn't include the tour. This is the freaking unbelievable not going in the house tour. And I'm like, are you effing? And I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm out of goodwill. I'm out of everything. And I'm stomping across the parking lot because now the house is closing. I have no chance of seeing where Eleanor Roosevelt may or may not have made hot dogs. It's, I'm never going inside, and it's free, so I can't even complain about it. And I get back to the parking lot, and my husband, takes one look at me, he's like, what happened? And I'm like, we didn't go inside the house. The fun tour didn't include the house. And he starts laughing at me. He's like, what were you thinking? And I look at him, and I said, I thought I was fun.